Welcome back, my friends, to the Steve Beeman journey, where we build life for the independent business person based on faith, finance, freedom, and the future. I'm Steve Beeman, and welcome. Today is an introductory episode for a lot of you. You haven't followed me maybe in the past, but I am in the middle of launching something big. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and it's called the Beeman Intelligence Group, or BIG. The point of it all is to give real help for real people. Not hype, not a rah-rah speech, not theory, but tools and advice and ideas that you can use each and every day to go home and make your life as an independent person even better. Because in my opinion, here's the truth, and the truth is important always, but the number one threat to an independent business today isn't AI. I hear a lot of talk about it, but that's not it. It's not inflation. It's not the politicians. It's the fog. It's the fog of too many inputs, too much noise, too much stress, and too many decisions that have to be made too fast under too much pressure and without clarity. So today, we're going to talk about the hidden cost that most of this never gets put on the balance sheet or the P&L, stress. And I want to talk with you about how to turn emotional discipline into a competitive advantage for you. So, welcome again. Let's start right here. Independent business. And you guys, if you're in your own business and you've been self-employed, you understand this statement. It's very much living inside of a pressure cooker. You're dealing with customers today who are more cautious, employees who want more and more, competition that can appear overnight, and technology that changes. If I said every quarter, I'd be too slow. Vendors are changing terms, insurance companies are raising rates, regulations are multiplying. And on top of that, you're expected to be the finance chief, you're expected to be the sales leader, the recruiter, the coach, operations manager, and now an AI strategist. I want to say something plainly to you because I think it's very relevant. Most owners, if you look at them, and I've talked with them for my whole life, but most owners don't fail because they're lazy or because they're unintelligent or, in fact, because they were unlucky. The most fail, and the kind of common theme I've seen through it all is they fail because they get overwhelmed. The business slowly drifts into what I call the reactive mode. Reactive mode is when you wake up and the day runs you. Reactive mode is when you plan, and your plan is just kind of whatever pops up, whatever screams the loudest. And you've been there. I know that because I have been. Reactive is when you stop building and you start surviving. That was the problem Big was built to solve. Big is not about politics. It's not about motivational fluff. It's about what independent owners actually need: clarity, decisions, and execution. So let me give you the I don't know factor right up front, and something I hope that you'll take home today. When you're under chronic stress, it is a fact that your brain tends to prioritize threat detection over strategic thinking. That means, very simply put, that when you're under stress, you become very good at spotting what could go wrong, but you don't look at what could go in a better plan, or you don't think about the strategic nature of things because you're under that threat detection mode. The stress makes owners do predictable things. And again, I've been down this path. It's why I'm doing this, because the experiences I've shared in my life resonate with all of these things that I share with you. But stress makes owners do these predictable things, and maybe you can relate with some of them. You discount too fast. You hire the wrong person just to stop the bleeding. You avoid difficult conversations with family and friends. You delay rising prices because it's just painful and you don't want the risk. Or you chase one or more leads, one or more tactics, one or more apps, throwing it against the wall hoping for relief. You see, stress narrows your field of vision. So if you're listening and you're thinking, Steve, I'm not emotional, I'm just too busy. Let me translate that for you. Busyness is oftentimes just unmanaged stress. Unmanaged stress becomes and leads to bad decision making. Bad decision making leads to margin leaks. Margin leaks become cash flow problems. Cash flow problems become fear, and fear becomes more bad decisions. So if you follow me, you can see that we're into a very dangerous loop. So Big has been designed to interrupt that loop with practical tools. And that's why we built, for example, our diagnostics toolkit. You can go on to beamanintelligence.com. It's free. It's of no charge. So you can do a diagnostic there of your own business. But we look at several parts of your business. We look at a clarity score based on cash flow, sales, pricing power, hiring readiness, AI readiness, very specific things that can help you see where your clarity isn't clear. And it's highly, highly important because these aren't just forms. This is an effort for you to move fog into a plan, because independence demands one thing of you and me, and that's self-command. Self-command starts very simply with clarity. So let me land this first segment with a hard truth, and I'll be back in just a minute with more thoughts, but hopefully we can bring some hope to all of this. Here's a hard truth. Nobody is coming to rescue your independent business. Here's the hopeful reality. You don't need to be rescued. You need to be structured, insightful, and focus on execution. And that's the lane that we're in. That's the big lane. So when I come back and when we continue here, I'm going to give you an owner's protocol, simple, repeatable, and powerful. And we're going to convert stress into clarity in under 10 minutes.
In a world of uncertainty, where business, freedom, and the future hang in the balance, one voice rises with clarity, experience, wisdom, and conviction. This is the Steve Beeman Show, the voice of the independent American.
All right, well, let's go deeper today. If you want to build a durable business, you can't just manage cash flow. You can't just manage people. You can't just manage your calendar. You have to manage your state of mind, because your state of mind drives your decisions, and your decisions drive your results. Here's the I don't know part of that, and I'm going to explain it in English as best I can. But when you're stressed, and we talked about this a minute ago, your mind naturally shifts towards short-term certainty. It's why stress owners prefer urgent emails over strategic plans, quick discounts over thoughtful pricing models, warm body hires over the right person, the busy work over hard conversations. And you know those feelings. I certainly have seen those in my life, and I've experienced them. So I know that stress can lead down a very dangerous path. But when those happen, we don't make those decisions because we're weak or because we're not smart. We make them because the brain is wired to try to reduce uncertainty. Independence, therefore, must become the willingness to live with uncertainty while making disciplined decisions anyway. So I want to give you today kind of a protocol that I've used for years. I'm formalizing this as part of the big effort and the big approach, so I hope you'll take it to heart. But step number one, let's talk about naming the pressure that you're feeling. What exactly is it? Is it cash flow? Is it a key employee? Is it sales that are inconsistent? Is it just the pressure of I'm doing too much? See, vague stress is powerful. Named stress gets smaller, and you don't want this to be consuming. So you want to name your stress point, put it into an intellectual box, minimize it, and then move on to it. Shift it from emotion to math. Number two, what is the real problem? Well, what's the cost of you doing nothing for the next 30 days? Think that through, because it may be not as much as you think, or it may be more than you hoped. Either way, what is the next reasonable move to mitigate that specific stress? Now notice, I'm not trying to solve everything. I'm just trying to give you traction. So the third step is to pick just one lever. And what I mean by that, there are a handful of levers that move most businesses. Prices and margins, collections, cash from lead flow conversion. You know the list, operational throughput. Pick one of them. Not three, not four, just one. Because stress loves you to be scattered in your attention. Clarity loves your focus. So focus on one of those levers, and let's work on that in the next 30 days. And then step 4, let's have a sprint. Let's take a look at our stress point and say, in the next 7 days, what can I do to change the scorecard? I mean, for example, maybe we raise price on an offering. We call our top 10 customers and ask, retention questions. We fix maybe one bottleneck process. We create a weekly pipeline review meeting. 7 days will create motion, and motion will create hope. Hope will create better thinking on your part. So after you do that, number 5 is to decide the next conversation. Now, most businesses that I've seen in their problems, their conversation's delayed. And that sounds simplistic, but it's true. So is it a pricing conversation that you need? Is it a customer expectation conversation that you need? Vendor terms, banks, whatever it is, write down the conversation that you've been putting off. Again, put this into a box so you can deal with it, and you'll find that stress moves to clarity. And there's something else that you'll notice in this terms, when you get these confusing stresses out of your mind, it's called leadership, because your people are looking for your clarity. I assure you of that. So when I offered you earlier an analysis through beamanintelligence.com, it's a clarity report and a clarity score. We're looking at your strategy, your cash flow, your sales, your team, your operations, and your tech. And we're trying to find out where you're the weakest. Where are you having the most problems today? And then we start to deal with them one at a time. Here's a principle that as we go, I hope will change how you operate. And that is this: if you simply choose the correct priority, everything else, forgive me, that's my phone ringing, it's just junk. As you guys get a lot of that too. But if you choose the correct priority, everything else becomes available to you. And that's why being in the independent business community doesn't die from one big problem. It's death by 1,000 cuts. So here are 3 patterns that I've seen most heavily from big operations. Number 1, cash is weak. And you've all been in that position. I've been there. And when cash is weak, your emotional state becomes fear. Fear makes owners overreact. We tighten billing and collections too much, or maybe we don't at all because we're afraid to approach it. We try to stabilize margins, but we fail to. 3 simple things that you need to do is to tighten your billing, reduce your spending, and stabilize your margins. But often, again, when the cash is tight, we don't think clearly to do those things. And when your sales are inconsistent, which is leading to that cash problem, well then, instead of the emotional state becoming fear like it does under cash, it becomes anxiety. Anxiety makes you chase random tactics. And again, I've experienced this and felt it, so I know that you have too. I mean, in the next 90 days, I'd like you to do this for yourself. Come up with 1 dependable lead channel, 1 conversion improvement, and 1 pipeline rhythm review. Get that rhythm down. No differently than in sports. When you get it in the game, get in the zone. Get 1 pipeline review, because rhythm will create emotional stability for you. And it will start to weed out that stress that you feel from the chaos. The third thing I've seen, so if you look, I've seen cash problems, sales problems, but I've seen where teams are messy. And when the teams are messy, what happens is your emotional state becomes frustration. So you have fear, anxiety, and frustration. These are very real. So in the next 90 days, if it's your team giving you anxiety, work on your role clarity. Does everybody know exactly what they're supposed to do and what's expected of them? Create an accountability rhythm. Make sure everybody is held accountable for what they've said they'll do. The black and whiteness of that particular thing will help you. Number 3, focus on 1 or 2 or 3 key fixes. Get your team back in order, because a good team creates bandwidth. One time in my life, I experienced synergy. And this was a team of 3 people, and 1 + 1 + 1 equaled about 10, because there was perfect synergy. That's what you want your team to experience. And it does it by having clear stated objectives and accountability for each of those people. You can achieve that, but get it there, because then your frustration will turn into strategic thinking. So I want to give you one more kind of I don't know thing. Most owners that I talk to, they frequently say to me, I need more time. What they really need are fewer open, like problem loops that we've talked about. It's the fog. It's the lack of clarity that's making them feel overwhelmed. These loops that we talk about can be created by unfinished decisions, unresolved conflicts, unclear priorities, vague metrics, and the someday projects. You know what those are. I'll get to that someday. All those open things create this stress feedback loop that makes you more and more deal with things in a way you don't want to deal with it. So a way to deal with that and get rid of that is to create an open loop list. And again, you'll notice a lot of times I say write things down. Put it down. What is the employee issue that you're dealing with? Write it down. What's the tax issue if you're behind on taxes? In other words, isolate the problem. By isolating it, you can usually come up with an idea to fix it. So you pick, your loop problems, whatever they might be, and then you decide on it, how to solve it, you delegate it, and you schedule it. One of those three things. It's the old thing back, 100 years ago when I started in business, and they had things on a desk and a piece of paper. You either dealt with it, you filed it, or you threw it away. It's the same thing. When you get into these problem loops in your mind, write them down and either decide on it as an issue, delegate it to someone else to fix it, or schedule it to be fixed. It's not just going to reclaim your bandwidth. It's not motivational to say that. What's going to happen is your bandwidth is profit. And by putting things down like that, you're going to be able to expand your bandwidth. And that's what I care about, because your best ideas, I'll say, don't show up when you're panicking. I have been in this position more times than I could count, and I've worked with business owners in this position. You don't want to make decisions out of panic. You want to make decisions when you're having clarity of thought. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, it all makes sense, but I need help turning this into execution, Big does offer coaching to move to that next level. Not everybody needs it, but some people do. We can walk with you on this journey day by day and make sure that you're putting things in writing and getting things dealt with to get clarity of thought and clarity of execution, because that, at the end of the day, is what's going to make your business prosper and your life palatable. When we go through our coaching circles, we talk about Clarity Score, which I've talked about. You can go on to the beamanintelligence.com site and take the Clarity Score. We talk about your cash runway, your pipeline health, all of that stuff. And it's not theory. It's not cheerleading. It's about execution. So let me close today with this thought. Independence is a beautiful thing. It's messy, it's chaotic, but it's a beautiful thing. But it does come with a price. And that price is that you can't outsource your responsibilities. So in this modern economy, in this digital economy that we're migrating into, responsibility is going to include things most owners ignore. And that's emotional discipline. Your emotional state shapes your decision process. Your decisions shape your results. And your results shape your freedom. So if you take nothing else from today, take this thought. Stress is not just a feeling. Stress is a business expense. The antidote isn't working harder. It's just not. The antidote is to take decisive action. So go take the big score, take the Clarity Score, list your top 3 priorities for the next 90 days, and go do it. I mean, if you want help you turn it into a real execution plan, then check out our coaching. But go to the no cost, no frills, beamanintelligence.com, take the exam, and it will give you your score. Find out where you are on your own clarity. So we are building this for the independent business people, both in America and increasingly around the world. But we want to find those people who don't just survive disruption. We're going to lead through it, because this is the transition into the digital economy. Thanks for watching. I'll be back later with more information.